Hey guys, and welcome to season 2, episode 10 of Business Shit. I'm your host, Mimi G, and today's topic is running an indie fashion line follow up. Guys, I'm super excited about today. First of all, let me give you a little background. So, Norris and I, starting around last quarter of 2019, decided to launch a production leg of the already other brands that we have called 26 Artists. And this was a way for us to be able to create much needed educational content specifically around creative businesses. I like to be behind the camera as much as I like to be in front of the camera. And so 26 Artists allows me and Norris to create, format, develop other people's content, and then bring it to life. Norris is our creative director, and we basically look for people who have great stories and so much to teach, and we create educational courses based on their experience. It's really, really fun and beautiful to watch other people share all of the knowledge that they have based on their experience of either starting a business or growing a business. So today I'm so fucking excited to announce the launch of our first course, Starting Branding, Marketing, and Growing an Indie Fashion Line with Mary Alice Duff, who's the owner and designer of Alice Alexander. You guys should remember her from episode 3 of season 2, where she talked about her story and sort of we teased you a little bit about this course that we were creating, and now it's here. Mary Alice, in a really short time, has made major waves as a size inclusive, ethically and sustainably made women's apparel brand. I had to literally copy and read that because it's a lot to say. And I have her back today to talk about updates, how things are going, and how much love she literally poured, you guys, into this course that we created. Mary Alice, welcome back to Business Shit.
Hi, Mimi. Thanks for having me.
It's been, 9 months, I guess, since I last saw you when we were in your studio filming and creating this course. And listen, it was one thing to be there and record over those, I think it was 4 days nonstop. But to sit back and watch all of the editing that Norris had to do and then listen back to all that information, girl, you gave a lot. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did. Yeah, no, it really is. And so, I'm going to talk about the course and we'll talk about everything that's sort of in the course. But one, I wanted to, follow up. Like, it's been 9 months. I know that there have been major changes. What's been going on?
Yeah. So summer was really intense for us. We grew really fast, faster than I think anybody had anticipated. We're currently growing almost at 20% month over month, which is a lot. And with that growth comes new staff. So I hired another employee, expanding our production team, getting new equipment in, and just connecting with more women around the world. It's crazy every time I go to the post office and I've got packages, we're in Philly, going to Philly, but then I have in that same stack packages going to New Zealand.
Wow.
So we're definitely experiencing some growth, and trying to just figure out, how to manage that, how to do it in a way that's responsible, so that we're still delivering the same quality, without sacrificing anything. So that's really been our big challenge, and officially coming up on our 2 years at the end of this month. That's what we're going to be focused on for the next 12 months is, what does growth look like? How do we do it in a way that's sustainable? Because growth doesn't always equal profitability either. With all that growth comes more expenses. So just figuring out and navigating that. But it's been a wild ride. These past 9 months.
2 years is a really short time to have the amount of growth that you're having. So if you're growing at a rate of 20% month over month, what do you think that is relating to? What do you think you're doing that is bringing such awareness to your brand?
So I think it's a couple of things happening at once. First and foremost, I think timeliness. The plus size community and the body positive movement is having a moment. Just thinking about pop culture, like look at Lizzo. She is an icon, but Lizzo would not have the platform she has today 10 years ago because people just weren't ready for Lizzo, right?
Yeah.
And I think you can see parallels in our company. We are unapologetic with the women that we put on our Instagram feed. They are fat. They have stretch marks. They're beautiful. And I don't think I could have done that even 5 years ago. I think people would have been like, oh, what is this? You know? Whereas
Right.
now women are finally, and folks are finally seeing that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. So I think my advice would always be to folks, like, you hear the word trend, it's not just about like the color, it's also about what's happening in the world and how your brand fits in with that. I'll also say in terms of sustainability, so that's what our brand is all about, especially with, millennials today, they want to know the sustainability of literally every single thing they buy, the food they put in their bodies, the cars they drive, and the clothing they wear. And so I think what's driving that growth is really like a timeliness of our brand. And also, if you follow us on Instagram, that we're building this community. We sell people clothes, but it's really not what it's all about. We're selling confidence. We're selling self-love. We are building this community around women lifting each other up and feeling good about themselves. So I think that's where the growth's coming from.
Yeah, that, I think, and we might have talked about this in the episode that you were on briefly, but I think we both agreed that at this point, it's not just enough to have a really cute, fashion label with cute clothes. And like, it really has to have more of a messaging, more of a purpose. Because I think people are just more aware of what they're doing. If I'm spending money, I want it to be to something that I relate to, that is going to last me, that means something to me. And I think your brand sort of does all of those things.
Yeah, we try.
Well, and in watching you in your space and watching you with your staff, you can tell that it's not just like this, passion that you have, but it's something that they feel, like super invested in. They're growing this with you, they're building this with you, and I think that that's really important for people to see. What you're doing when you really say that it's ethically and sustainably made. You're not joking.
No, I take it extremely seriously. Yeah, for sure.
So taking on that other employee, that's a big deal. That's, that's a good step. So you feel comfortable?
Sure. And this person, comfortable, no. No, not at all. I'm completely uncomfortable. No, and I think the first 2 years of business, like I work with, I have a nonprofit that I work with. It's called a Community Development Financial Institution, and I get into this in the course. But what they do is they provide startup capital, loans, but they also provide technical assistance. And what that means is, they help you figure out your business. But one of the things we've been talking about is your first 2 years, you're surviving, period.
Yeah.
Full stop. Like at any and all costs. And so I'm just coming up on that 2-year mark, and I feel it. Like I am tired. I'm stressed out, but I am here. I am still standing, and my hope is that going into this next year, it'll be less about surviving and really about thriving. And so, no, I am completely uncomfortable. Every day I'm uncomfortable.
That's good. But that's growth.
But that's growth, right? But
absolutely.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah. No, that's really great. And I think it's realistic for people to understand. I'm talking about this in another episode that I'm recording, but I think people have this really false sense of what happens now when you start a business due to social media, that, it's just like you're going to just create this business and this shit's just going to pop off, and then you're just going to be like rolling in dough. And that is just not the case,
No.
And part of the growth, part of that pain that you go through, part of the struggle, that's good, because that lets you know that even when you're uncomfortable and even though shit is hard, you still keep pushing, because that there's sort of, a season for your business. People who started, I have a friend, and I'm not gonna mention names, but started a business and a year in was like, oh my God, I'm struggling, I'm gonna quit. And I'm like, what? Like, this is part of the course. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna be broke. You're gonna, figure out how to, pay this to get over that. And I mean, that's just, it's just how it goes.
That's it. And I think for me, it often feels like the struggle, and there'll be moments where like, I'm like, God, I want to quit. And what I have to do is like go back and look at our growth, like look at our sales history, or I'll go onto our website and read all the reviews that people have left about the products that they buy from us, or go on Instagram and just go through my DMs. And it's like when you're at the bottom, when you're at rock bottom and you just don't feel like you can go any further, taking that moment to just kind of revel in whatever little success you've had, it really can just be like the fuel you need to go another day, and then another day, and then another day. And then you look back and you're like, oh, I did another month. I've got this, you know? But it's hard. And if it's not hard, you're probably not doing it right.
That's exactly right. That is a really good
enough.
point. So one of the things that I really, really love about what you've done, and I always tell people that it's not just about building a business, you have to build a community. And I think one of the things that you did, and you did it early on, was you made this not just a business that you were starting, but a business that everyone was starting. You literally like included everyone, your followers, people who were interested in what you were bringing to the table. You really included every step of what you were doing, financing, building, designing, all of it. And I think that that's key to anybody starting a business, because you really do need the community, the people that you're trying to provide a service for, to be sort of on the team and be rooting you as you're going along. So one of the things that I read on the site, of course, I was visiting the site just to make sure that I was up to date on everything that was going on. And one of the things that I really love is your level of transparency. So I noticed that you increased prices, and a lot of people do that and then don't say shit. Why was that important for you? Why is transparency such a big deal?
Yeah, so for this particular instance, one of the big reasons why I made a point, I talked to multiple people before I decided to like announce that we were raising our prices, and they all said, just raise them 10% and don't tell anybody. But the reason I didn't do that is that because I have countless women and people who shop with us who save for our pieces for months. And I didn't want that person who was saving the $315 for our Bessie Adventure jacket to come back to the site and see it had gone up $20.
Right.
She knows how much it is because she's been saving for it for 3 months.
Right.
And so what I was trying to avoid was that email that said, hey, I've been saving for this forever. What gift?
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid a conversation down the road where I had an opportunity here to be transparent and I didn't take it. So for me, I have always been, part of the key part of my business is transparency, because that is how you get people on board. And that is how, you erase that conversation where people are like, why does this cost so much? No one ever fights me on my prices because I'm transparent. I share how much I pay my employees. I share how much I pay in taxes. I share how much I make or don't make.
Right.
I share that because I think it's important for folks to know the amount of labor, the amount of finances, the risk, all of that goes into making these products happen. And especially when you compare it to these like big mega corporate entities who are the opposite of transparent. Like it feels really mysterious as to how your clothes get out on the rack and how much it costs and who was paid what. So I'm taking the opposite approach. Like we tell you literally everything so that you can make an informed choice about what you're purchasing.
Yeah.
And it served us well.
Yeah, I think it does. And I think it goes back to that same point about really it's being more about the connection that you have with your customers. And I think that relationship is always more important than the business relationship. Yeah, I'm selling you something, but I need you to know me. I need you to know who I am and why I do this and what my family looks like and how I have to, get by and who I need to pay, because I think that is what grows that loyalty that you're going to have with your customers for years and years and years to come,
Yeah, I completely agree. And when we made that announcement, it was nothing but outpouring of support.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But it has to do a lot with like you said, that you did it early on and you were upfront with everything that you've done. And so people support that versus being like, oh, I can't pay another $20 for this amazing jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in that video that I watched, and of course everyone can go to the Alice Alexander website to watch it. you talk about fast fashion, and I thought that was so powerful because I don't think people really get it. I don't think they understand
Hmm.
what it takes from other people for them to pay $5 at Forever 21 for a
Right.
t-shirt. So can you talk about a little bit about your feelings about fast fashion and why you want that to go away?
Yeah, sure. So, if you check out the video, you'll get more information there about what fast fashion is. But really, all it is clothing made at an exceptionally fast pace for exceptionally low prices. So, fast fashion is H&M, Forever 21, um, Zara, all these stores that are making clothing for like less than $15, $20 for a piece. And the only way to do that is to exploit both people and the planet. So the planet is exploited in that we're using super cheap materials, so polyester that's costing next to nothing. Polyester is made out of oil. A lot of people don't know that. It's a form of plastic. And then as far as the labor goes, the only way to get clothes so cheap is to exploit people to make them. And the majority of the people being exploited are Black and brown women between the ages of 18 and 24. And so me, as someone who identifies really strongly as a feminist, I was a social worker for 10 years. Here in the United States, I was fighting for poor women every day and then wearing fast fashion. And a lot of people don't know about it because we're not supposed to know about it. I mean, these systems are enormous. And, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, when fast fashion was starting to be created, the promise to us Westerners was you're going to get more clothes for cheaper. And then we're going to create these jobs in developing countries. And sure, we got a bunch of new clothes, but the quality is terrible. The planet is being destroyed in the process. So for me, I had this real come to Jesus moment a couple years ago when I realized, because I was like an H&M junkie. I was there every week. I had 2 blocks from my house. I lived in Center City, Philly,
Right.
and buying new clothes made me feel good. And it gives you that little high, right?
Yep.
And so I had to have a painful, introspective examination of how can I support these companies that are literally destroying communities and exploiting women every single day. And the only people getting rich from them are the CEOs at the tippy top, and they're all white dudes. So it was just this, they are. And so it was just this moment of wow, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then I started to try and find clothes that fit me at a size 18 and were in alignment with this new ethical and sustainable perspective I had. And that's where I realized that there was the gap for my company. But
Well,
yeah,
and
I mean,
aside from that,
yeah,
aside
go ahead.
from that, that just looked good. Because I don't know what that
Yeah, right.
perception was that if you were above a size, I don't know, 8 or 10 or whatever, that you had to wear gigantic, loose-fitting, ugly clothes that were not
Right.
flattering.
Yeah, and and there's always been this weird thing in the plus community. It's either these oversized, just hideous sacks, or it's this skin tight club wear. And
Yeah.
what's in between? I don't want to wear the muumuu, and I'm also not going to the club. So
Right.
what do I wear in my life? I can't have my boobs spilling out and my butt cheeks hanging out the bottom. Come on.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, there's just massive, massive gaps. But if anybody's interested in fast fashion, I highly encourage them to watch The True Cost. It's an incredible documentary that breaks all this stuff
Oh, yeah.
down. And River Blue is another one. And it's not an all or nothing. The switch from fast fashion is freaking expensive.
Yeah.
But, I really don't shop anymore. You just change your buying habits. And that's just my little soapbox plug because it's something I'm
No,
really
no, it's
passionate
good.
about.
No, it's true. Listen, I'm a huge shopper, and I shop at all those stores that you just mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, but and honestly, and I'm always pretty upfront. I don't think about that shit. Like really,
Yeah.
it wasn't really
Nobody
until
does. Yeah.
no, nobody thinks about that. I go in and I'm like, oh my God, look at all this shit I got for $100.
Right.
But then, three washes from now, I'm like, okay, got to throw it out. And then
Yeah, it doesn't
repeat the
survive the
cycle.
washing machine.
Exact, which
Yeah,
is
and
why
I
I
mean
sew.
everybody's stuck in that. Yeah, which is why you sew. But everybody's stuck in that. And
Yeah.
there is so little information out there, and there are so few alternatives that are accessible, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a conversation that I want to keep going, and I want people to keep having.
Yeah. And I think, now, when I look at my closet and, and this happened to me, I don't know, maybe last summer. I opened my closet and I was like, why do I have all of this stuff? And honestly,
Yeah.
80% of it is things that I've made for myself. But even then, I don't wear it that often, right? I'm a really
Right.
basic kind of girl, actually. I wear jeans and t-shirts every day. Like, all that
Yeah.
fancy stuff is for the blog. But, I
Right.
get rid of it. I give it to the Goodwill. I give it to my friends. I give it to family. My mom donates a lot of it to her friends in Mexico. And then I just started
Mhm.
saying, you know what? It's really more about having great pieces that are going to last me for a really long time
Yes.
than a bunch of
Yes.
stuff that's just filling space.
Yes. Exactly.
And you do that. Your pieces
I
are great.
try. Thank you.
Well, and aside from them looking great, the first thing I did was look at your seams and the inside of your garments because I'm Mimi G. So that's the first thing I did. I was
Of
like, let me
course.
see the inside of this. And that stuff is really well made, like
I
100%
know.
crazy good.
I
I was
know.
like,
My
I don't
my
even
team
sew
has
this
been.
good.
Yeah, I know, and nor do I. And I mean, when I hired my first like professional seamstress, I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like it's
Exactly.
unbelievable what sewing 40 hours a week for 10 years does to your
Yeah.
skill set. So yeah, I don't sew at all anymore. I'm not even allowed to cut. I have to stay away from the patterns. Yeah. I design, I source the fabric, and I do everything else, marketing, scrubbing
Yeah.
toilets, you name it. I just don't cut and sew anymore.
So, this course is a really big deal because one, I mean, obviously it's our first 26 artist produced course. So we're super excited. But more than that, I think that what we created in this course is exceptional. People do not give this kind of information out because I don't know, people are just selfish with their shit. They really are. They're
Yeah, I
afraid to
agree.
share and they're
Yes.
like, "Oh no, if I tell you how to do it, then I'm somehow going to affect me."
Right.
And you and I are both on the opposite side of that, where we think the more we share, the more we get back. So
Exactly.
this this course is amazing. So it's broken down into three major courses. There's the idea to launch, there's your first year in business, and then there's growth and scale. And then you even did some bonus mini
Hmm.
courses for them. Why was it important for you to share? Because you really didn't have to. So why was that important for you?
Oh, that's, I think when I was starting out, and again, like I did not have a fashion education. I got a master's in social work. I worked in the nonprofit sector for 10 years. I didn't even know anything about running a small business. Like I was completely clueless. And I think I wanted to create the thing that I desperately needed. I spent a lot of money making a lot of mistakes early on. And with that, I think I now know what I would have done differently. And I really just want to make entrepreneurship, and particularly in the fashion space, accessible to folks who come from limited means. I myself come from, a pretty low income background. And, I didn't have anybody financing this company for me. And so often I talk to women and folks who want to start their own companies, but they're like, I don't have any money, or I only have this. I don't have
Yeah,
an investor. Well, guess what? You don't need any of that. You just need
right.
information, and you need a whole lot of grit and stick-to-itness. But I just think I wanted to create that thing so that anybody from anywhere with the right mindset and some really practical tools could build their company. And I just wanted to create the thing that I didn't have. And I
Yeah.
think we did that.
No,
I hope.
we did it. I mean, you guys can go to 26artist.com. The link and information will be in the show notes for today, and you can read all about the courses in depth. But just to go over some of it, the fact that I think I really enjoyed the way we broke up the three major courses because the idea to launch is, I think, the hardest part for people to really first
Yeah.
take that first step and know how to do it, and then that first year in business is so crucial, and you gave so much great information. And then growth and scale, I mean, we talked about financing options, branding and identity,
Mhm.
marketing concepts, budgeting. You did cost of good worksheets
Mhm.
for them,
Mhm.
cash flow worksheets, budget worksheets, business plan templates. I mean, girl, like, if you can't
I
start
love
an indie
worksheets.
fashion brand after this course, I don't know what to tell you because it's exceptional. And it's clear
Thank
and
you.
concise without a
Yeah.
bunch of like technical, jargon that people don't understand. So you
Right.
did a really
Right.
fantastic job, Mary Alice. You really did. So
Thank you.
um,
I appreciate it.
I want and everybody was super excited about it. I know it took us a while because like I said, once we started editing, let me rephrase. Once Nora started editing, I was like, oh, this is a lot. We did a
This is a
lot
lot.
of of filming. So it took us a while to sort of break everything down, and then between your schedule and my schedule,
And you
it took
got
a minute.
married.
And we
Yeah.
got married. I mean, there was just a lot of shit happening.
Yes.
But we got it up, and it's amazing. And so please go check it out. If you have ever wanted to start any kind of a fashion label and just didn't know how to do it, this will absolutely guide you from start to finish. And then I think I'll have you back on, after a couple of weeks to maybe, answer
Yeah.
some questions
Oh yeah,
and
I love
and
that.
see how everything's going. I think it'd be really great. So please go support. Please go follow Mary Alice. All of her handles will be in the show notes. Mary Alice, you are an exceptional woman, and what you're doing is fantastic. And thank you for being a friend, but also for trusting me and Norris to bring your story and your knowledge to the masses. So thank you so much.
And thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited about this, and I really hope people find it beneficial and helpful.
Oh, they will. We will be sharing. And again, if you have questions, always, make sure and leave them either in the comments in YouTube or always email us at businessshit at gmail.com. Please join the Facebook group. It's a fantastic group where people can sort of share ideas and get advice and just find other people sort of going through the same either highs or lows of running a business. And that link is also in the show notes. Thank you for listening. And please remember, in order for your business to succeed, it must be the shit. It needs to solve a problem, help them get past their current stage, earn respect, and build trust. All the shit Mary Alice did. Thank you so much, Mary Alice. I'm out.
Thank you. Alrighty.